I'm live. Howdy, howdy, howdy. I hope everyone is doing fantastic. Welcome to not just another Monday evening, Memorial Day Monday evening. Hope you all had a good long weekend. I certainly did. We'll talk about that in a second. But first of all, I got to start off with a big old SKD 143. I love my wife, love my kids, love all of y'all, love all the reality fans of the world. And I love all the people who over the years have given so much for this country. At Memorial Day, it's 3-day weekend. People go out and celebrate and do all kinds of things, enjoy the outdoors and summertime starting all that. But always keep in mind, it's about remembering as well. So many people over so many centuries of this country giving everything, giving the ultimate sacrifice to keep us all free. So thanks to all of y'all who've done that. It's always important that we remember. I hope y'all are doing fantastic. I hope y'all did have turn up brightness down a little bit here. Hope y'all all had a fantastic long weekend. I know I did. Y'all don't understand some of the behind the scenes work that goes on with this show a little bit. I spent the weekend at the lake. Had a blast doing it. Sitting out on the water, is actually in a kayak, and all of a sudden I realized that, oh my gosh, I got a show to do this evening. I better hightail it. So I hightailed it back to Houston so I could be with you guys for the show. And I'm so happy I did. But it was nice sitting on that lake as well. I hope y'all enjoyed everything as well. All right, let's see, first of all, everyone who's out there, because I don't want to miss y'all as we're all sitting here on this Monday evening. There we go. Sorry, guys. Good getting my mouse right. Let's see. Amanda Lowe. Happy Memorial Day to you as well, Amanda. Jake, the horror movie geek. Howdy, Jake. How are you? Chaz as well. Howdy, Chaz. How are you? Nice to be off work and able to join the live. Well, good, Chaz. Welcome. I didn't even think of that. I mean, I have every week people who are out here watching. I appreciate all of y'all. But I know a lot of people watch on replay as well that don't get a chance to come out here and watch the live. And Chaz, welcome aboard. I'm glad that you get the chance to sit in as well. Alicia as well. Hello, how are you doing? Markeitha Nord. I gotta turn my brightness up. I can't really see y'all saying. Markeitha, howdy from Arkansas. Well, welcome, welcome, neighbor. How are you doing? Chaz is a regular, but I'm glad you get to do it as a live as well. Maureen Carroll, happy Memorial Day to you as well. Fred Benson, happy Memorial Day. Anyone who served in your family, and Judah Tucker, hello from Alabama. Well, howdy, Bama. How are you doing as well? Fred, who served in my family? My Granddaddy Hogg served in World War II. He primarily was here in the States handling training of the soldiers that were going overseas. He tried at the very end of the war to go over and fight as well, was turned down. Eventually, he was over with some of the occupation forces in Korea and all that. So he served. My mother's father also served. He served over in the Asian theater and was a engineer helping build all the stuff that needs to be built over there. So they both served. My dad was in the Naval Reserves as well. So yeah, I've got some people who served in my family. I've told the story before about my mom when she was little. When she got scared at night, she'd say, "Daddy in the army, Daddy in the army," to scare away whatever ghosts and monsters she thought were in her room, because she knew that no one would want to mess with her dad who was serving in the military overseas. I always remember that story. So yeah, I've got a few that served in my family. All right, let's see who else. Andy W., you made it. Yes, indeed, Andy. You certainly did, as did Amanda Lowe. Memphis and Christmas got married. I didn't know that, Amanda. I've been out of pocket all weekend long. So, man, people getting engaged and getting married from Big Brother just left and right, can't even keep track of. All right, well, Memphis and Christmas got married. That's pretty interesting. Well, let's talk about that in a second. Rick Cat Ranch as well. Happy Memorial Day to you, Rich Cat. And Brian Hosteiler, I forgot it's Monday. Yeah, me too, Brian. That's why I was sitting on a river in a kayak and just almost missed the show because it just felt like a Sunday kind of day. But it worked out. So, yeah, all right, let's talk about this. Before I do, Rick Cat Ranch, husband and youngest son are both Marine Corps veterans. My dad and grandfather both served in the Air Force. Well, thanks to all of them. Everyone, there's a lot of people who paid the ultimate price, but anyone who's in the military has a willingness to pay the ultimate price, and that's so important. And I got to say, I mean, I know Memorial Day is for those who made the sacrifice, and we primarily think military and all of that. But I got to think about so many other people as well on this Memorial Day. We've gotten through all the COVID. I think about all the teachers out there, everyone else who've made a lot of sacrifices and really come through, and kind of our new soldiers in some ways as we were fighting that pandemic, right? So there's a lot of people to be thankful for this particular Memorial Day. Andy W. served in the military 20 years. Well, thank you, Andy. I appreciate it. It means a lot, the willingness to do that. You learn a lot from the military. I truly think. I never served. I thought about it. I came real close when I was in high school. I took the ASVAB test, and they wanted to make me a nuclear engineer. And I thought, well, that sounds kind of cool. I've always thought I'd like to be an engineer. I wasn't sure about nuclear, but that sounded kind of neat. But then I started talking to some people. They said, yeah, you'll do that. You'll get put on a ship. It was for the Navy. You'll get put on a ship, either an aircraft carrier if you're lucky, or you'll get put on a nuclear sub if you're not so lucky. And you'll be out to sea 6 months, 9 months at a time under one of the ballistic missile kind of submarines. You'll just be hiding away, hanging out, and all that. But man, that's an interesting way to live a life. I'm decently tall. I'm 6'1". I'm not sure how I would have fit into those submarines. Those look a little cramped and all right. But well, thank you for the service. I absolutely appreciate it, Andy. We all appreciate these military folks, because my granddaddy served. I know my dad served as well. You see, people have to move around. It's tough to have a home base because you get moved to wherever the government needs you at times. So it's not the easiest profession to have for the family, right? Judith Tucker, my dad served in the Navy in World War II. Every single one of us, I think, have people that served, immediate family or friends, family, etc. Be it World War II, be it Vietnam. When I was a kid growing up, we started having the soldiers. I was very young when the Vietnam was going on, so I didn't really realize what was going on at the time. But I know for a while there, you had all the soldiers coming back from Vietnam, and that was a tough war. They weren't as well received. But now, unfortunately, it absolutely is unfortunate. We've got this whole new rank of veterans between Iraq and Afghanistan, and what we've had happening. It's just, we've got a whole new range of veterans as well. So, there's always battles to be fought, right? And Chaz is saying, getting closer and closer to Big Brother season. Can't wait. Yeah, let's move on to that a little bit. Now, first of all, I was going to talk about it. I got sidetracked by more important things with the military. Christmas in Memphis got married. I didn't know that. I need to get caught up on my Instagram, obviously. What's funny is that I do the recaps every season, and I remember watching that All-Star season, and they were in there, and there was talk about, did they kiss? Did they not kiss? What's going on with Memphis and Christmas? And I was trying to be very much not a rumor monger or anything. I was just going to report the facts, and that's all I was going to report. And so when they had that little maybe kiss, maybe whisper and all that, I was trying to play it so calm and collected, saying, yeah, we don't know what's going on. They may just be working together just because it's convenient in the house and all of that. But then when they got out, obviously there's a little bit more to it than just playing the game together in the house. So, that's cool. I've never met either one of them. They're a couple of the Big Brother former players I'd love to meet at some point in time. Nicole has met them. I'm sure Nicole's got a few things. Nicole Anthony, I'm sure she's got a few opinions on Memphis and Christmas based on that season that she played in All-Stars. But yeah, well, congratulations to them. They got married. Nicole Anthony is getting married as well. Christy got married from my season. Tommy Bracco, I know a lot of y'all. I think Ma said you're graduating. I thought that's what you said, right? But I know that Tommy Bracco just graduated with his degree in psychology. I think he wants to do some kind of therapy type sessions. So between marriages and graduations, there's just a lot of transitions happening at this part of the year. So congratulations to all of y'all for a little bit of everything. My mom's out here. Howdy, mom. How are you doing? She said, great pictures. Great picture of them online. Great pictures of them online. Hold on, let me see. Which picture? I'm missing. Sorry, mom. I'm trying to read through the comments. I missed part of that. All right, let's see. What else do we have on here? Let me get caught up. Mom. Memphis and Christmas. All right. Sorry. I'm trying to get caught up. So, all right, great pictures of them online. Well, good. I'm really happy for them. It's so cool because I forget. Yeah, I never forgot how much older I was than everyone else in the house. But I've been married for 32 years now, and so it's been a while that I've been married. But I see all these people that are so much younger than me that are starting to get married and find their soulmates. And it's really cool. It is indeed. All right. So let's talk about Big Brother second. Since we got into that with Christmas in Memphis, and as Chaz said, it's getting closer and closer. I saw that I guess Alexa Stern, I think, is one of the casting people. Remember, it's not Robin Cass anymore. She's the one who cast me, but they've got a new staff doing the casting. And she posted, I think, 2 days ago, said, that's it. Casting's over. I'm going for a long 2-week vacation, I think, before I work on some other project. So with that in mind, they're done. I would expect, for those of you who tried out, who sent in videos, if you haven't been contacted yet, there's still a small chance, but I wouldn't be holding your breath too much for this season. But don't give up hope, because there's always next year. And lots of times someone who may not quite fit in this season gets moved to a season a little bit further down the road. There's a lot of Big Brother players who always come out and say, I was supposed to do this season, didn't quite work out, and I did this one instead. So don't give up hope. Yeah, there's still a chance. But let me tell you a little bit, without going into too much detail, of what probably has happened at this point in time for the casting. I imagine that everyone who kind of got identified as a potential Big Brother player this season got contacted, had to fill out all kinds of forms, send in all kinds of pictures. You can't imagine how much information they want from you. Probably already went out to the finals in LA to talk to producers and do all kinds of psychological tests and intelligence tests. There were so many tests that I had to take. I had to talk to a psychologist to explain why I was crazy enough to go on Big Brother, but not so crazy that I was prohibited from going on Big Brother. I had to get checkups and take IQ tests and all kinds of stuff. I imagine all of that's probably happened. But for those of you who don't know, it's not just one big finals and everyone who's going to be on the show shows up together and does this thing. It's spread out over several months. Mine was pretty early when I did it. I think I did mine like in March, end of March or something. But I know there were people in my season like Nicole and David, and they didn't go do their finals until like in May, right about this time of the year. So it's spread out over a long period of time. But I'm guessing at this point in time, they've probably got it narrowed down to a couple of dozen people. And now they're trying to pick between those, figuring out who's going to actually be on the show, who's going to be an alternate. How hard would it be to be an alternate and be so close and yet not quite make it on there? But sometimes, like Christy from my season, she was an alternate and she still made it on. So with all that being said, if you didn't get the call, there's always next year. If you did get the call, call me. Let me know. You're not supposed to tell anybody, and I would never force you to do that. But if you ever want a little hint here or there, call me. I'll keep it quiet. Chaz is saying, do you prefer all new people or a mixture of some vets in there with new people? Well, Chaz, for selfish reasons, if they want to bring in a few vets from past seasons, yeah, I'm okay with that. But as a viewer, as just an outright viewer and lover of Big Brother, I like all new people. I truly do, because you get to know all. Not that I didn't like All Stars, but I already knew everyone who was on that season, right? Yeah, I kind of knew their game, who they were. I like seeing brand new people that I know nothing about and getting the chance to guess how I think they're going to do, how well they'll do, not do, and then see if I'm right or wrong. I like to see all new forms of gameplay. So I like seeing the new people. And I don't really ever like having just a mix of a few people that are past contestants that come in. We've seen where they play coaches, where they aren't playing, and then after a while they are playing, and they try to do it different ways. But I don't, having done Big Brother once, if I came back into the house, I feel like I would have such an advantage over all the newbies in that house. I didn't realize it when I was watching it, just what a huge difference that makes. But having been in there and realizing how long 99 days truly is and how important secrecy is, all the things that come into the strategy play, it really makes a huge difference. So I don't know. Yeah, bring a few veterans back in, CBS, if you want, and that works for me. But now, Chaz, if it gets right down to it, if I'm being completely honest, I like seeing all the new people and just finding out who they are and watching all these new people playing the game, playing it well, playing it not so well. That's a big part of it, right? Yes, I always like that. Now, Ma's saying it depends on who the vets are. And I guess that's true. I mean, there's certainly some people that I would love to see come back into the game at some point in time again. But again, I mean, and it's kind of two people. Do you want to see people come back into the game that maybe played a really strong game that you feel like they maybe deserve to win, but it just for whatever reason, it just didn't quite work out? Like a Vanessa Russo, I've always said that she's one of my favorites to watch play. So, would I like to see her come back in, get another chance? Yeah, I guess so. But there's other people who I feel didn't get a good shake. They got booted very first day or the very first boot. They never got a chance to really show who they were. Glenn is like that. Steve, Cameron. There's a few people over the years. I'd love to see a season maybe where you take some people who were only in there a week or so, and maybe not a cast of 16 of those folks, but get a few of those in there and give them a second chance. I would love to see some of those folks get a second opportunity. The tough thing is, if you get all the people who were the first boot, for example, how tough is it to then be a person who gets the first boot in your second season back? That'd be tough. That would take you'd have to have you'd have to have thick skin to be able to handle getting the first boot twice. But I'm sure a lot of them would love another opportunity. So let's see. Mark Taylor saying, what was your favorite season excluding yours? That's so hard, Mark. That's like picking your favorite child or something. I'll say this. The first season that I really watched passionately and kept up with and everything was season 8 with Evil Dick and Jen. And that was an amazing season to watch just because it was so chaotic at times. A lot of stuff happened that season. There's no way they'd put up with it nowadays. But so I'll always have a soft spot in my heart for season 8. What other ones? I don't know. I like Ian's season where they had the coaches. Dan came back as a coach and everything. I like Derek's season with Donnie in there. Donnie was so much fun. So I don't know. It's tough. I've liked a lot of different seasons for a lot of different reasons. Season 15. Let's see. Bill saying season 15. Season 15 had some decent gameplay, but a lot of people don't like it because there were a lot of comments made that were a little offensive. It's tough. Sometimes you get in that house and people start taking things personally, and they go a little further than they need to go. I liked 15 while I watched it, but yeah, there were a few problematic situations there. I'll just leave it at that. Chaz said, I'd like to see Tiffany get another. They are seeing that. There's somebody, and Bill are saying Ovi. Oh yeah, you know how much I would love to say. Ovi and Nick were the first two people in the house my season that I really thought I was going to try to align with and try to do something with. And for different reasons. Ovi just seemed like such a great guy. And we just kind of, hit it off. I mean, I don't know. We just he's a great guy to hang around with and talk to and everything. Nick, I felt like Nick had an in with some of the popular group and all of that, and so I thought maybe I could get latched on to him a little bit. Didn't work out so well considering he put me on the block when I got sent home for the first time. But yeah, it is what it is. I'd love to see Ovi get another chance. If not on Big Brother, send Ovi off. Let him do Survivor, which would be fun as well. I know Ovi had talked about, I think Ovi tried out for Survivor before he tried out for Big Brother. And there was a possibility he could be on that show, but he ended up on Big Brother as well. Bing Bong saying, who's your favorite night one evictee minus Cameron? Oh, yeah, I like Cameron. I thought he was going to do a whole lot more. I think he got the raw end of the deal. Everything about Cameron getting evicted was just wrong. And I gotta say, I just don't like the Big Brother seasons where someone goes home on day one or they get banished on day one or anything like that, because you're forcing people to make decisions based on very quick analysis, and it makes it too easy for people to judge. You know, they say don't judge a book by its cover, and I feel like sometimes when you've only met someone for a few minutes, you're forced to make some decisions that are very shallow based, right? You don't really get to know the people. So I love any season where everyone's in that house for at least a week or so before you have to make any of those kinds of decisions. So yeah, Cameron got burned on his. Glenn, I maybe would say Glenn as well, because I don't know if y'all remember, but his competition, they were in groups of 4. I think there were 4 groups of 4, and if I recall, they had to make some kind of a structure and they had to ride on them. There were several things they had to do as a team, and Glenn's team just didn't do so well, kind of let Glenn down. And then at the very end, they had to balance, put a bunch of coconuts coconuts in holes without tipping it over. And Glenn came within a split second of beating, I think, Corey, but I could be wrong on that. But Glenn came so close. And I've talked to Glenn before, and so I'd love to see Glenn get to a chance to come back as well. So there's a lot of them. And it's so hard because I know, having been on the show, I know how much effort they put into getting on that show. They told maybe not their friends, but they told their close family they were going on the show. They fly to LA. They've got everything picked. They spend their time in sequester. They're going over all the strategies, everything they're going to do to win the game, and they're just getting themselves pumped up and everything. You get in the house, and you're out the door before you ever get a chance. That was the case with David Alexander in my season. I felt so sorry for that guy, because there but for the grace of God goes I. I mean, it could have easily been myself or Jessica or Kimmy as well. Any one of the 4 of us that were picked for banishment that first day. But at the time, to think that David didn't even get a chance to see the HOH room or sleep in the Big Brother house or see the backyard, none of that. And he was getting sent home. Now, fortunately, they brought him back, and he at least had some time to enjoy some of the Big Brother experience. But I just feel for those people. It's just tough. I just don't like it at all. Bing Bong saying Cameron paid the dues for Steve and Ian. Is even worse with the night one eviction. Cameron. Who else was Ramsey? He wasn't a night one eviction. I don't even know if he was the first eviction. Was he? He may have been second. I remember he and Steve. And the reason I think of him is because I was actually out in LA during their season. And that's when I drove by the CBS studios and actually saw, kind of off in the distance, the Big Brother house, the studio where the Big Brother house was, or the stage where the house was. I actually saw it from as close as you can get, being just a regular person and all that. And I remember there, I think Steve and Ramsey's were in the backyard having a little conversation in the morning and all. Who would have thought that I would have ended up in that same house just a little bit longer? It's still such a surreal situation. Chaz is saying, do you think you would have ended up still doing these Cliff Notes if you went home on the first night? I don't know, Chaz. Maybe not. I don't know. I love talking and all of that, and so maybe, but just because I was in the house and doing those kind of Cliff Notes every morning and everything, and got a chance to talk to the cameras, I think it's a lot less likely. I mean, I may have still been involved in the Big Brother community a little bit, but probably not to the same degree that I am now. So yeah, I consider myself very fortunate. I got the chance to spend 93 days in that house. There's a lot of people that don't get that. So I'm always grateful for that. Bill saying, literally just finished watching your season right now. Well, thank you. I hope you understand that I gave it everything I had in there, Bill. I came so close. I really, there were times in the beginning where I thought, man, there's no way I'm making it to the end. Let's just see how far I can ride this thing. And then as I got a little more towards the end, I started seeing these paths opening up and thinking, well, maybe there's an opportunity here and there. But I got to say, when you get to the end of that and there's only 4, 5, 6 people, there's nowhere to hide. You're that talking about emotional involvement at that point in time, when you know that if things don't go just right, you're done. There's no convincing people to go for this target instead, because there's no one left that's just a hanger on, a floater that doesn't really matter if they get sent home. By the time you get to that end game, everyone's got their alliances, their loyalties built up, and there's just nowhere to hide. It was tough. I hope you enjoyed the season. I've heard a lot of people say they really enjoyed from the jury standpoint, from the jury phase onwards. They enjoyed my season. There's some people that say not so much before that, when that big alliance was in power and everything. Hey, trust me, I didn't enjoy the pre-jury phase that much either while I was in the house. I got banished on day 1. I got booted out of the house on day 30, had to fight my way back in. Little tough sledding for the first 5 weeks or so in that house. After that, a little bit easier, but the first part, a little tough, but I had fun doing it. Moss saying he wouldn't call it Cliff Notes. Yeah, I wouldn't call it Cliff Notes since I'd gone home. He wouldn't have had the ability to talk to the cameras. Yeah, you're right. It would have been something else. I would have, I don't know. Yeah, still maybe we would have done something, just because before I went in the house, I wasn't on Instagram. I wasn't on Twitter. I wasn't on YouTube. I wasn't on any of these social media things. And I have a feeling that even if I'd gone home on night 1, I would have jumped on, and I probably would have given a lot of analysis because I love the game. I mean, I've watched it forever. I would have probably given a lot of analysis for my season and given thoughts just based on the limited exposure I had to those people. And so based on that, I probably still would have kept on doing it, but it just seemed natural to take from what I did inside the house and kind of move on to the next one. Just my thinking. Let's see. Season would have been saved entirely if Cliff and Nicole were final 2. Well, Mom, I kind of think the same thing. I mean, we tried. Well, we came close. It came down to the that final win it and you're in it veto competition. And Nicole was, I think, a minute and a half off or so from Mickey's score. If she'd done it just a minute and a half shorter, we could have sent Mickey out the door. It would have been Holly and Nicole and myself as the final 3. If either one of us had won the final competition, I know I would have taken Nicole, and I'm pretty certain that she would have taken me as well. And I mean, we had it figured out what we needed to do. The difference is we knew what had to happen. That's not the same as doing what needs to happen. And we just didn't quite make it. But I still think the strategy was strong. Just didn't quite work out that way. And you can't cry over spilled milk. That's just the way it happens sometimes. It's like playing, you can be the best poker player in the world. Sometimes it's just not your day. As long as your strategy sound, you got to just say, it is what it is. And that's kind of what I've always done thinking about my season. Bing Bong saying you were such a jury threat, 1 or 2 more comps and you would have won the whole thing. I mean, not to toot my own horn, but I guess I kind of will. I know I said in the diary room one time, I said, I feel like I need to win 1 more competition in order to make it into the final deal. I just got to win 1 more of these next 2. And I obviously I didn't, but I do think if I'd made it to the final 2, I think I probably could have talked to the jury. I think for the most part, everyone on that jury appreciated that maybe I had to fight a little harder sometimes just because of my age, being so different from everyone else in the house. And that's what I would have used as my jury speech of, hey guys, y'all were targeting me on day 1 and not a single one of y'all would have cared if I went home on day number 1, and yet here I am. That would have been the beginning to my speech. And yeah, I think if I could have made it to final 2, it would have happened. We had fun when I did Hearts of Reality in December in Orlando, because Tommy was there and Holly was there and Nicole was there. And we sat around out by the pool, just us, just talking a little bit about, hey, what would have happened if you did this? What would have happened if you'd done that? And Holly and Tommy both said, yeah, Cliff, you were gone no matter what. Both of them said you were the first one we were booting if we had the chance. So, yeah, I think a lot of people thought if I made it to the jury, maybe it would have been I may have stood a decent chance of convincing the jury, but we'll never know. That's all right. We'll never know. But yeah, it was fun. It was fun getting to the point in the game where I was starting to write my final 2 jury speeches. Maybe I was a little too early with that, a little premature. I should have waited a little bit more and focused on what was happening in front of me. But I remember in my head at night trying to start building up my speeches of what I'd say. If I was the final 2 against Mickey, what was I going to say to convince people to give it to me instead of a comp beast like him? If I was up against Nicole, my best ally in the house, what do I say when I'm matched up against her? I was trying to figure out all the different angles, and never quite got to that point. All right, let's see. Mark's saying, congrats. Yes. Thank you, Mark. Congrats to Marianne for being winner of season 42 of Survivor. I was so happy to see Marianne win that season. Now, I would have been happy. Not that Romeo didn't deserve it. If you win, you deserve it, right? I mean, I absolutely believe that. But I don't know that Romeo's resume was quite as strong as the other 2 in the final tribal council. But yeah, and if you haven't seen Survivor, I've already spoiled it for you, and I apologize for that. But I kind of think most of y'all probably seen it. I hope so. If not, I'm sorry. But the final 3, Marianne or Mike, either one, I would have been so happy to see them win it. And Marianne did. And it just makes me remember what I like about her so much. When she first started playing Survivor, the first half of that season, it wasn't strategy. I mean, she wasn't part of the big group. She kind of seemed like she was just an afterthought and that no one was really taking her seriously at all. But even with that being said, she was having so much fun playing the game, watching her just constantly smiling, no matter what was happening, and watching her tell those goofy stories about bunnies in a mailbox and all for her shared immunity aisle. She was just always fun to watch from a pure entertainment standpoint. So I liked her just for that reason. And then suddenly she comes along and she starts showing that she's actually got some strategy built in. She starts playing a strategic game. She and Omar were so tight with each other, and yet she got Omar out because she knew that he was going to impede her ability to win that thing. And I've seen Instagram afterwards. It's so cool because they're both Canadians. I think maybe the only 2 Canadians from season 42. So they're hanging with each other and really good friends, even though she kind of sent him out and all that. And that's what I love about these reality shows. Not everyone treats it this way. Some people carry grudges and they'll never forgive people who did them a dirty inside the house and all that. But there's a lot of people who recognize the game's a game, the real life's real life. I do that with everyone in my season. And it looks like Marianne and Omar do it as well. A lot of people. Marianne was at Mike's. Speaking of people getting married, Mike from Survivor 42 just got married as well. And Marianne was at his wedding and all of that. So, yeah, I was so happy to see Marianne absolutely deserve it. I think she's 25, so she's fairly young in terms of Survivor winners and all that. But she showed everyone else. I think she's one of my most favorite winners for the past, I don't know, 10, 15 years or so. I mean, I really just enjoyed watching her play the game. And we're going to get to see her again. I don't know when they'll do another All-Stars of some sort or another, or bring back people, but she'll be back. I'm looking forward to meeting her and the rest of the Survivor 42 folks when they do Hearts of Reality next December. I'm going to, not for certain I'm going to be there, but I'm thinking about it. But it'd be great to meet them and talk a little game and all that. I really enjoyed season 42. I thought it was a fantastic season. And now we get 43. It just one. Big Brother is always during the summer, right? I mean, we get Celebrity and all that, but Big Brother's during the summer. You spend the rest of the season kind of building up to that 3.5 months of Big Brother. Survivor, you get the fall and you get the spring, so you get it twice a year. You don't get as many episodes. You only get 13 episodes, I think we had of Survivor this year, as opposed to Big Brother where they had 39 episodes or something. I was on TV a lot during my season of Big Brother. So you certainly have much longer seasons with Big Brother, but you get 2 seasons a year Survivor. So they're always having to rehash, bring in new folks, and I'm ready. Let's get Big Brother taken care of. I'm going to watch every bit of that. And then come the fall, we get to start all over again with Jeff Probst once again. How long do y'all think Big Brother and Survivor are going to last? I mean, I don't see it going away anytime soon. I think they've done a good job of changing up a little bit as they go along. Another 10 years, 15 years? I don't know. Am I going to be sitting here at 110 years old, saying, hey, I remember 50 years ago when I was on Big Brother? And they're going to be saying, yeah, Cliff was on old school Big Brother. Hey, he was on it back when they still had it on TV as opposed to holograms and everything else. We'll see. I can see a long time. Chaz is saying had to be a wild night. Got voted out, fought to get back in, and ended up HOH. Crazy. I'll tell you a little story about that. But the other one, Bing Bong said, how did it feel to do that in such a short span of time? Man, it was incredible. It was such a, it's just such a whirlwind because I didn't know for certain I was going to get voted out, but I started getting suspicious of it because suddenly people wouldn't look me in the face. Or if they saw me in a room, I'd see them do a about turn 180 degrees and walk the other way. It's like, you don't do that to people that you want to continue to try to develop a relationship with. I just kind of became a pariah for a couple hours before the actual vote occurred. And you just feel it. It just feels different. And so I kind of got suspicious. I knew I was going to get voted out, though, right before the show started because Tommy was sitting on my right-hand side. Nicole was on my left. And Tommy looked at both of us, but he put his hand on my thigh and kind of gave me a little bit more of a look and said, guys, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. And just the way he was looking at me and making a little more contact with me, I knew it. At that point in time, just Tommy's body language told me that it's you that's going home, Cliff. I didn't know what the numbers were going to be. I actually was kind of happy it was 6-4, not 8-2 or something like that. But so I kind of suspect I was getting booted. But then I had to spend that whole episode not really certain. And at the same time, knowing that, all right, but there is a battle back that's going to happen as soon as we get done with this. And so I had to go through the emotions of yes, I did get voted out. Great. Now I got to go out and fight for my life. But I was pretty confident on that competition, rolling that ball. I just felt like that was, as soon as I realized it was rolling a ball and not hanging from a rope or running back and forth, competitions that other players, could have, David was so athletic. I just, there's a lot of competitions David could have easily beaten me at, but rolling the ball worked to my advantage. So yeah, suddenly winning that thing and knowing that I was still back in the house. And so at that point in time, I don't know if y'all realize, you may sometimes, but we had the eviction, and after the eviction was over, sometimes I immediately go to an HOH competition. Not in this case. In this case, we had the battle back competition. I got back in, and then I got back in the house, and my brain is just going, what happened? Why did they flip on me? I thought everyone was mad at Nicole, and just out of nowhere, suddenly that's not happened. And there's people, Nick and Bella are in a room, the boat room, arguing with everyone else. And I gotta say, there's one thing that happened during that little conversation. I heard Nick tell, I think Christy and Tommy and the other, everyone who was in there said, look, if you just told me, I would have voted him out too. I don't have any problem with that. I would have voted him out. And as soon as Nick said that, I realized that Nick didn't keep me because of any strong loyalty to me. He just didn't realize that they were playing Nick, and that if Nick had a chance, he would get right back in with the rest of them, Bella as well. And that's why I didn't really ever feel as much loyalty to Nick later in the week when I ended up sending Bella home or putting her up on the block and all of that. But I'm sitting here for the next hour or two between the battle back and when we start that HOH, just trying to figure out what is going on in this house. What am I missing in terms of connections and strategies and everything? Because I didn't think I was getting voted out. And I slowly started figuring out who had voted to save me, who had voted to send me out the door. And eventually it's like, all right, obviously the big alliance is the one who wants me gone, except for Nick and Bella. And so I start trying to figure out what my next step is. And really at that time, it was just my strategy was just going to be lay low, tell everyone who voted me out, say, look, I don't take it personally. I know y'all were just trying to, you got your alliance you're trying to protect. It's just one of those things. Yeah, we're good, but don't do me twice in a row. And I really was thinking I was going to try to stay under the radar for another couple of weeks. But then when that HOH came up and I was playing it and I kept winning round after round after round, all of a sudden I thought, well, maybe I'm gonna have to change my strategy a little bit. And then suddenly, next thing I know, it's Jack against me. And I realized at that point in time, the worst position you can be in is to come in second place. If I'd lost during one of the earliest rounds, I think a lot of people would have said, yeah, he won the battle back, but it's just, he got lucky on that one. He's not really a threat to any of us. But if I'd won the battle back and then came in second place on the very next competition, I feel like a lot of people would have considered me right then and there as the biggest threat maybe to the rest of the alliance. And so I kind of was committed at that point that you better win this thing if you're going this far with it. And so it came down to Jack and myself for that final question on the Patch Perfect HOH. And it was either who rang in first, or if someone rang in first but they were wrong, the other person won. I rang in first. As soon as I heard the question, I pretty much took a best guess of what I thought it was. Rang in first, and while I'm waiting for Julie to give the results, I'm quickly looking at this board to see if I'm right, and it dawned on me that yes, I picked it. I'm right. My guess, it wasn't a guess. It was a quick observation, but I'm correct. I'm going to win HOH. And so then when Julie announces it, yeah, it was a hell of a feeling. And then you get inside the house, and everyone suddenly wants to be your best friend. Beforehand, I was the pariah. No one wanted to talk to me because I'm the guy getting ready to go home. Suddenly, I'm HOH, and everyone wants to come have a little conversation with me. Yeah, it was a cool 180-degree flip in the way that house went. And from that point on, win or lose, I felt like I'd made my mark in the game. Especially the next day when I picked Jack and Jackson and kind of went after the alpha males and all that. But even if I had immediately gone home after that, at least I felt like I'd made a little bit of an impact in the game. If it happened before that, not so much. So yeah, it was a huge moment for me. And I've been reminded multiple times that I gave my family a heart attack. Can you picture? I mean, y'all watch the show and you know how excited I was, right? Pretty obvious. I had a big old grin on my face. But can you picture my family who is watching this? Because they already know. They knew before I did that I was getting voted out. So they knew I was getting voted out. I understand later, they already were planning some little parties and a welcome home reception for me when I got to the airport. And they had all this stuff worked out about, we're going to, make sure that Cliff's welcome and he knows how proud we are of him and all of this. And then they see the battle back and suddenly they know that I'm in the game again. So this huge roller coaster. So they're doing that. And then apparently at some point, someone in my family, I think they're all watching live feeds, but someone notices when the live feeds come back that I've got the HOH key around my neck. And that now they know that not only am I back, but now I'm in power. Now I get to make some decisions. And so, yeah, I gave my family quite the heart attack that evening. Kind of gave myself a bit of a, it was an incredible evening. And then when I got out of the house and I saw all these comments and people who had, for better or worse, there was not everyone wanted me to come back, but a lot of people did. And watching them celebrate and realizing that my victory wasn't just my victory. My victory was a victory for a lot of people who were watching and potentially cheering me on. And for all of y'all, thank you for doing that. It meant a lot. Yeah, it was so cool. I had a blast. All right, let me, Bing Bong, 43 finished filming a few days ago and 44 cast has flown out to Fiji. Wishing the best. hoping for 2 great seasons. I didn't know that, Bing Bong. I know they filmed this so much earlier. It's not like Big Brother where we're doing it live, right? Survivor, they film it and then they have to do the post editing and all that. How hard was it for Marianne to know that she had won $1,000,000 and she couldn't tell anyone at all? That'd be tough. I actually sent Marianne a little message during the season and said, I love the way you're playing the game. You've quickly become one of my favorites. And she sent a little thing and said, oh, thank you. That means so much and everything. I didn't know at the time that she was a millionaire that I was talking to. That's hard. All right. Well, I didn't know it, Big Mom. Thank you. So they've already finished 43. So somewhere out there is some person who is our latest millionaire from Survivor, and they're not going to be able to tell anyone for another 6 months or so. It's tough. Such a tough secret to have. It was hard enough for me not to tell anyone that was going on the show or potentially going on the show, but to know that you'd gone on the show and you'd made $1,000,000, more power to the people who can keep their mouths shut on that one. That's pretty cool. All right. Let's see. What else do we have on here? Enjoyed your experience about being in a house. Oh, thank you, Julie. Yeah, it was, Julia. It was fun. Everyone always says, what's your favorite day of being in the house? It's got to be day 30, right? I mean, so much happening. And it was fun when I went into the diary room after I got done because I guess I surprised the producers and everyone else. I guess they underestimated my ability to win a couple of those things because they were pretty excited as well. And they kept saying, Cliff, you don't understand. This doesn't happen all the time. Watch your thinking. Well, my thinking is I'm pretty damn happy right now, big brother. But I think right after that happened is where I think they contacted my family and said, look, we want to come out and film a little segment on Cliff's family, all of y'all, since now he's in the house and all that. And we're going to have a crew out there tomorrow or something. And so they were rushing around trying to make sure they were ready. And I've got family up in the Dallas-Fort Worth area who drove down to Houston to kind of make sure they were here to show all the celebration and everything else. So there was a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that I didn't even realize at the time. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. Bing Bong said, would you rather play Big Brother again or play Survivor? Oh, I don't know, Bing Bong. Just for the variety, I'll say Survivor. Yeah, I mean the ultimate reality show, right? I've watched Survivor since season 1. I started watching Survivor even before Big Brother. So yeah, I'd love to play Survivor. I think, ask me another question. Do you think you have a better chance of winning Survivor or Big Brother if you play one or the other? I almost think I'd have a little bit better chance at winning Big Brother knowing what I know now, as opposed to being a newbie on Survivor. I don't know. I think I'd do okay with Survivor. Call me cocky, but I feel like I'd do okay. But I don't know. Ask me for either one, guys, and I'm on board. But yeah, maybe Survivor, just so I can say I did both of them. I'm jealous of Beast Mode Cowboy. He got to do Big Brother and he got to do Survivor. Pretty cool. That's pretty neat. All right, let's see. Justin Q. Howdy, Cliff. Howdy, Justin Q. How are you doing? Welcome to Cliff Notes. Be great. Ma saying, I felt like I was about to get killed by fireworks. I may have missed that, Ma, on that. Here's a little story for y'all. Do y'all know? I don't know if I ever said this. 4th of July happened while we were inside the Big Brother house. I think July 3rd, Ovi was evicted. I thought he was going home. I did not want Ovi to go home. So when the sirens or whatever go off and Julie announces this camp comeback twist and suddenly David comes running back in, I'm so happy for David. I mean, it's tough because I'm competing against David. I'm competing against Ovi, but I was kind of happy that they got their chance to stick around a little bit longer. But that was July 3rd. So July 4th comes along. I think we got some kind of barbecue. We got some food in the backyard to celebrate the 4th of July, things like that. But then all of a sudden we hear all these fireworks going off, but they weren't outside. They were indoors. And so we all run to the TV set in the main room and they're playing fireworks on the TV screen for us to watch. And it's like, oh, okay, well, this is cool. I think it was from, I don't know, I want to say Sydney or somewhere. Some different cities around the world doing their fireworks. And when we watched that for a couple of minutes, then we realized it was about 5 minutes that they just had looping over and over and over again. And so it's like, all right, then let's get back to our barbecue and pizza and all of that. But I'll always remember that night because at one point the feeds were down and they were playing some music for us, which, obviously we don't get music while the feeds are on, but with the feeds down, they were playing a lot of different songs for us. And one of the songs they played on that 4th of July, because remember, since we had Camp Comeback, it was all 16 of us. And that was really the first night that all 16 cast members were together in that house. And they played different music. Well, one of the songs they sang was Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen. And we all start singing along, except for Nick. Nick had never heard that song before. And when I realized that, that's maybe the first time I was in that house where I realized that there is a huge disconnect between myself and a lot of people in this house who are a lot younger than I am, because Nick had never heard Bohemian Rhapsody. I think Sis had never seen an episode of Gilligan's Island. There were a few things that some of the people in the house had never done. And I was like, really? How do you get through life? Oh, well, you're in your 20s, so maybe that's part of it. But yeah, I was always amazed that Nick was saying, how do y'all all know this song? How can y'all all sing along with this super long song? Well, we all knew it. Nick, not so much. But yeah, I remember 4th of July inside the house. It was a pretty cool event, because it's really maybe the only time that all 16 of us felt friendly and together. And we just set aside the game for just a little bit and just had fun being in that house together. Lynn Specker, how bad is slop really? Well, I always say this, Lynn, that I may not be the best person to ask since I was never a have-not, but I did taste it. It wasn't bad. It was just completely tasteless. I mean, that's the best way to put it. I always thought, oh, it's just like oatmeal without the sugar and butter and all that. And that's kind of true, but it was just, it's like if you took unflavored oatmeal and you cook it up, but you like overcook it so it's kind of gummy and pasty. And I mean, you probably could put it up as a paste and it'd work fine. It was just very thick and glutinous and all of that. Zero flavor to it. I always said if I had to, I'd survive by mixing a bunch of syrup and things like that. But the problem is twofold. One, it's not just a single meal. I mean, you can eat anything for a single meal for the most part, right? It's the fact that you've got to eat only that for a solid week, which makes it really bad. But also that you can't eat anything else. I mean, you can mix a few things with it. I think we were allowed olives and condiments and some things like that. But for the most part, pickles, I think, things like that. But for the most part, it was just slop. And not getting any other food and just having that tasteless bland over and over and over again. I think that's what really made it tough. But I was lucky. I took one bite here and there and said, yeah, y'all have fun with it. I'm going to go back to my my bologna and cheese sandwiches or my fried eggs or whatever I was fixing at the time. They tried to do a lot of different things. I know Kat made slop cookies, and they tried slop pancakes and slop meatballs. And some of them, they'd say, oh, this is pretty good. We could live on this. Yeah, they're lying. None of it was pretty good. Some of it was better than alternatives. But I remember they made little slop meatballs that they just went on and on about. Oh, this is actually pretty good. This is just like a real meatball. You could take this little slop meatball, you could throw it on the ground, and it would bounce right back up into your hand. It had the consistency of a golf ball, and these people are trying to eat this for a week. Yeah, you don't want to be on slop. There's nothing good about it at all, especially when you got to do it for a solid week. Yeah, so I was lucky because we only had have-nots for 2 weeks during my season, so I never was a have-not. If they'd gone one more week, I was going to volunteer to be a have-not just to do the experience, and just because I didn't want someone else to have to do it twice. I was too nice at the beginning of the season. I should have said, yeah, I'm not volunteering for anything. It's going to weaken you. I'd rather have y'all be on again so I can win these competitions. But early in the season, I was like, yeah, I'll take my turn, whatever. Let's get the whole experience going on with this. But yeah, nothing good about slop. 7:56. That's so quick. My mom's saying, Sis had never seen Mr. Rogers. All right, Mr. Rogers. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Howdy, neighbor. Yeah, Sis had never seen Mr. Rogers. I think there's a few other Gilligan's Island. There's a few of the shows that staples of my childhood. Man, I grew up watching Sesame Street, Electric Company, Mr. Rogers, and then when I was a little bit older, Leave It to Beaver, Gilligan's Island. What else? Dick Van Dyke Show. I Love Lucy. I know we're going back a little ways for some of those. I love me some. And then that's back when you only had 4 or 5 channels to pick from. It's not like today where you got 400 channels and all the Nicks and Disneys and MTVs and all. Now back then you had a limited selection, but I gotta say the stations took care of us kids watching some of those shows once we got home from school. So yeah, there's a few shows that sis would tell me that, and my jaw would just drop. Like, how do you get through life without watching some of these shows? But that's all right. That was the beauty about Big Brother, was meeting so many people from so many different backgrounds and everything else, and figuring out who you could work with and maybe who you couldn't work with sometimes at times. Miss Fire saying, Golden Girls, homie. I watch me some Golden Girls here and there. All right, let's see what TV Land Classic. Yeah, I miss TV Land. I watch all of those shows all the time. Do you remember Croft Superstars? Robin E is saying that had Land of the Lost and the Boogaloos, the Bugaloos. Yeah, I remember the Bugaloo. Oh, God. Yeah, and the Banana Splits. Do you remember this one? La 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 la. I'll stop right there. But yeah, we need to just have a whole episode of old TV shows, TV Land and Banana Splits and Croft and all the rest of them. I know we could talk easily for an hour on that, but we're not going to do it tonight because it's 7:58 and I need to shut it down. Miss Firesign, my dad's named after a character in MASH. Well, if your dad's name is Hawkeye, then it makes sense. Doctor, now you can't leave us hanging with that, Miss Fire. What's your dad's name? Hawkeye, Franklin, Potter. All right. I want to find out later, Miss Fire. Let me know. But we're going to have to go ahead and shut it down. It is 7:58. Guys, again, first of all, thank you for being out here. If you haven't done so already, please go out and subscribe to my channel. Sign up for notifications so you'll find out whenever I do these shows. Even like today, where I was rushing back from the lake and didn't put my notification out until 30 minutes before the show. You'll get the notification before the show starts if you've signed up and turned on notifications. If you get a chance, go out and hit the thumbs up. I always appreciate that. Thank y'all much for that. Sarge. All right. Thank you, Miss Fire. That would make sense. I love me some MASH. Oh, I've got every episode of MASH memorized. I probably do. I think maybe we'll make that a trivia contest someday. But guys, y'all have a fantastic Monday. I hope you enjoyed your long weekend. But also, just again, keep in mind the people who've paid a lot of prices for our country and family, friends, etc. Reach out to some of them and say thank you for those who are willing to make the price. Some of y'all out here as well. Thank you for the willingness to potentially make that kind of sacrifice. It means a lot to all of us. So thank you for that. Y'all have a great one, guys. Enjoy the rest of your week. Survivor's over, so I won't be doing a recap Wednesday night. I need to get me a new show to do recaps on. I'll start looking into it. If you got ideas, let me know. But until next Monday, Cliff Notes Live episode 79, I guess will be next week. Until then, y'all have a great one, guys. SKD 143. Cheers, my friend. Love y'all all. Have a great one.